Hello, greetings and welcome. So in this video I'm going to ask the question, is there life after death? Now I have various opinions on this. If anyone ever watches the rest of my videos, you'll see that there's different layers of truth, ultimate truth and the relative truth, and within the relative truth we exist and time exists. But in the ultimate truth, and if we look at it from a non-dual perspective, time doesn't exist. So we're going to look at it from that point of view in this video. Now, Klein, a non-dual teacher, an Advaita teacher, said this thing. Somebody asked him what happens after death, or something like that, connected to death. And he said, before you ask about death, you have to find out what life is, find out what you are. And that's the main teaching in Advaita Vedanta anyway. In non-duality, find out who you are, find out what you are. That's the idea. So now we'll come back to this a bit later. Now, so if time doesn't exist, then it's not a matter of you dying and then disappearing, because our lives exist in time, but in reality we exist outside time. So we always exist. Now we're going to look at this in a bit more detail. So who says that, apart from Advaita Vedanta, who says that time doesn't exist? Well, some Western philosophy came to this conclusion. Immanuel Kant said that time is part of how our mind structures the world. So it's not actually in reality. It's what we use to structure. It's a priori mental framework that we impose onto reality to navigate it. And then from that, Schopenhauer also said that time is part of the world as representation. Now, from a scientific point of view, we have Bernardo Kastrup and Donald Hoffman, who argue that Hoffman argues that the world that we see is an interface, and part of the interface is time and space. So time and space isn't real, but we use it to navigate the world, as I keep saying. And he used models. He ran models over many generations, game theory, and saw that things that see reality as it is don't survive. So the things that actually build an interface to understand reality, they survive. It's a bit like when you open a computer, you open a laptop, and you can use the laptop with the screen. But if you open the computer itself and try to manipulate the chips, you can't do anything. So we need some sort of interface to simplify reality so that we can reproduce, basically, and survive and, pass our genes on. So that's the situation we're in now. We've developed this interface which includes time and space. That's what his theory is. And Bernardo Kastrup also says that time and space are part of the disassociation, that part of this dashboard. He calls it a dashboard, but it's similar to Donald Hoffman's interface theory. So that's part of. So time and space is not part of reality, it's also how we interpret the world. And then we've got some physicists. We have first the spiritual aspect. We've got Advaita Vedanta and Maya. Maya is the veil of illusion that hides reality from us. Maya has time and space, so it's not actually real. And then we look at some physicists. We've got David Bohm, who says that time doesn't exist. Time is the measure of successive existence. So everything is changing, and changing is the fundamental. And we see change, and we look at the change in a clock or seasons or the body clock, and use this change to try to kind of sync it with other changes, so we can catch trains and things like that. By seeing how something changes, and a clock, for example, or the seasons, and then use that to try to, but everything changes at different speeds. So, I mean, clocks can move at different speeds depending on if they're accelerating, etc., in space. And then there's Einstein. So Einstein, because of his theory of relativity, from that we get this block universe where everything exists at once. So, and because everything exists at once, we never die, but we're always just living from who we are, where we are, because you don't get to the end of time and then start again. It's just that you are just always who you are in every moment of your life, and living it. Now, if we look at, say, time travel, so if I could travel back in time and I could go into my body, the thing is that in science fiction, people travel in time, Back to the Future, and they still have a memory of their previous timeline. But if we really went into the body and had all the memories and didn't remember our previous timeline, then we would effectively not really have time traveled. We would just be that person. So we'd have memories of the past and things that are happening and anticipation for the future. And we could actually be jumping constantly between moments in time. And every moment that we landed, it would feel like we're just flowing along, just as normally. Because every moment that we jump into, in this time travel metaphor, we have the correct memories for that time. So all moments, at every moment that we're living, we feel that there's a flow of time, because we have a memory of the past and a memory of the future, but really we're just living in that moment. Now, so looking at this, we can draw links to what Nietzsche, his idea of, he had this idea of eternal recurrence, I think it's called, where we infinitely live our same life again and again. So it could be torture for some if you haven't thought about it before, but he says that you have to live it passionately, etc. So, and you have to be happy about it, the fact that you're living it. Now, so this could be what's happening. If time, see, Einstein didn't say that time doesn't exist. Time says that, Einstein said that it's just the flow of time that is an illusion, a persistently stubborn illusion, or a stubbornly persistent illusion, that we flow through time, that we don't actually flow through time. We just exist in this all at once, in this block. Now, so the thing is that if we look at it from this point of view, from the point of view of who you are, the individual, the separate self, it's good and bad. It's kind of, when you die, you're not really born again, because you're just living in every moment of your life. So you've always got your mother when you were little caring for you, and you've always got all the different people in your lives throughout your lives that are always with you, and they never leave, because that is your life. But in reality, it's not only time that is part of the illusion, and it's in the same with the metaphor of the interface, the dashboard, the desktop. These, and also in Kant and Schopenhauer, it's not only time that is imposed on reality, so we understand its spaces as well. So if there's no time and space in reality, then there's only one thing, there's only one observer, and that's you. It's the only thing that's real is you. And you are, yes, you're always the separate self, but you're also always everyone else, because if I was put in the same way as if I was put in my body when I was 10 years old, and I had all my memories and all my thoughts, and I forgot about this current timeline, I would be that person. The same way, if I was put in the body of somebody else and I had all their memories, I would be that person. So I wouldn't feel like I'm James who's been put into somebody else's body, because all my memories would be perfectly accurate and would coincide with everything in their life. So, and this is what apparently is happening in non-duality. So we're all, well, there's just one thing, it's you. And you are looking out of everybody's eyes. Now, so when we go back to Jean Klein and his what he said, so the person asked him about death, and he said, before you ask the question about death, you have to find out what life is. And life is you. We're not talking about biological life here, which is part of the interface, part of Maya, part of the world that is illusory. What's really real is you, this consciousness, this subjective experience, and it's looking out of everybody's eyes, and it is life itself. So this is what life is. You are what life is. And this life doesn't go. It looks out of everybody, and it is everybody, and is everything, because all of the illusory world is also a projection, manifestation of yourself as well, of consciousness. The objects of consciousness are nothing other than consciousness. So when you try to find out who you are in non-duality, you find that you are that which exists. You are existence itself, your consciousness itself, and you are the source of all value. Value doesn't come from the illusionary world. Value comes from you. Love, truth, and beauty is what it comes from you. So you are this thing which doesn't die, but it doesn't die just because it's outside time. It's existence, all existing all at once, and this is what you're doing right now, what you've always done, and what you always will do. So there's no death. There is death for the things that you see in the world, in this interface, and including your body. But what you are is everything living all at once. Now, the questions of heaven and hell and things like that would be on a transactional level. So that would be if we analyzed it more from a devotional aspect, or from a traditional religious aspect, which I also like. So it's just different models. But this is the highest truth. Meister Eckhart said, the eye which God looks at me is the same eye that I look at him. So you are this thing itself, and no, you don't die. So that's that. Bit of a mess at the end there, but I hope it was clear. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.